Stephanie Coontz, Marriage, A History, How Love Conquered Marriage. Prepare to embark on a journey through the fascinating history of marriage, as presented in Stephanie Coontz's Marriage, A History, How Love Conquered Marriage. In this summary, we will uncover how the concept of love has evolved over time, and how this emotion hailed as the cornerstone of modern marriage was once considered dangerous and irrelevant. Relish anecdotes from the past highlighting the importance of kinship, the political purposes of marriage, and explore the changing roles of men and women within these unions. As we stride through the pages, you will see how love gradually gained its prominence and transformed marriage from a practical institution to the emotion-driven one we recognize today.
The historical purpose of marriage. Marriage, for thousands of years, had little to do with love. Instead, it was a means of establishing kinship and connecting potentially hostile groups through intermarriage. Our hunter-gatherer ancestors sought peace with other bands, and marrying a member of another group was one way to guarantee it. In medieval Europe, love was reserved for God, kin, or neighbors. In India, romantic love was once considered dangerous, as it was believed to lead to irrational decisions that challenged family authority. The Old Anglo-Saxon word for wife meant peace weaver. The historical and economic foundations of marriage. Marriage, as an institution, arose from the practice of growing the family through in-laws to ensure prosperity and survival. In ancient times, marriage served a peacemaking purpose that formalized peace treaties and military alliances, and in medieval times, it became a tool for extending power. Love was a side effect of marriage, and its role in matrimony was not emphasized until recently. Love and personal liberty. For centuries, marriages were arranged by families for social and economic gain. However, the Enlightenment and emergence of wage labor in the late 18th century brought about major cultural and economic changes that freed the individual from family dictates and birthed the concept of personal liberty. Suddenly, people had the choice to shape their own lives, including the freedom to choose their own spouse based on love. This marked a shift in perspective and a turning point for the marriage institution. With the emergence of wage labor, young people, especially men, could support themselves and start their own households without the need for family wealth. As a result, marriage was no longer simply a strategic decision made by parents. Love became a legitimate reason for marriage, and the freedom of personal choice prevailed. Love and sex in Victorian marriage. Marriage was traditionally viewed as a rational undertaking devoid of emotional fulfillment. But, during the Victorian era, people began to expect love and intimacy from their spouse. Despite this openness, sex was heavily regulated, with a stereotype that women were not supposed to have desire. This led to widespread sexual frustration and the booming of prostitution. Physicians treated women suffering from hysteria, a term used to describe their frustration, by massaging their pelvic area, which led to the invention of the mechanical vibrator. The myth of the 1950s marriage ideal. The book debunks the widely held notion of the 1950s and early 60s as a golden era for marriage, revealing that the reality was much different. While marrying young was popular, gendered division of labor was not as prevalent prior to the 50s. Men often worked alongside their wives, both earning a living. The economic boom of the 50s saw the rise of single-income families, but this model was not as idyllic as people thought, as men, in reality, did not earn enough to support the whole family. The book provides insight into the history of marriage, debunking the myth and providing perspective on how we should view marital roles today. The rise and fall of love-based marriage. The 1970s marked a sharp decline in the number of marriages in the U.S., with every second marriage ending in divorce. The reason? The notion that love can solely sustain a marriage. While love can make a marriage fulfilling, it can also make it fragile. Prior to the 70s, practical and cultural constraints limited divorces. But as women gained economic independence and questioned gender roles, divorce rates increased. As a result, more people began to delay marriage and prioritize self-expression. Evolving marriage. Marriage norms and expectations have transformed drastically from the division of labor between genders to legally recognized alternative partnership arrangements. Women are now more career-driven, both partners equally contribute to the family income while many have embraced non-traditional relationships. However, marriage still stands as a fundamental institution in society, providing emotional and economic support to the individuals involved. According to studies, people in marriages are happier and healthier compared to unmarried individuals. Marriage has reinvented itself, and although it has faced several changes throughout history, it remains a critical aspect of modern-day society. Demographers predict that 9 out of 10 Americans will eventually get married.
The journey through Stephanie Coontz's Marriage, A History, How Love Conquered Marriage unveils a fascinating history, where our current views on love and marriage were shaped through social, economic, and cultural changes. We've come a long way from the practicality-driven unions of our ancestors to accepting love as the pillar for marital commitment. The Enlightenment, wage labor, evolving gender roles, and new partnership arrangements have contributed to the state of marriage today. While undergoing vast changes and challenges, the institution of marriage remains strong, with studies indicating improved happiness, health, and stability for those in wedlock. As we look ahead, it is evident that marriage will continue to evolve but will remain a testament to the human desire for connection and partnership.